Hello, everybody. How's it going? You may notice two or three things. First, I used the countdown as an intro rather than our usual intro because this isn't really an official episode. This is just mostly me having a chat. And also because we weren't supposed to have an episode tonight because Rob's out of town, and we weren't going to have an episode because we're saving the slot for when we do our 250th episode, which is the next episode that's supposed to be scheduled. So, but we still kind of figured that I was gonna, well, more me. I just figured I would jump on and just chit chat a little bit with everybody and say hello and maybe talk about some stories that have been going around um, on the internet about Mexican aliens and things. So, but yeah, so I'm just doing that. It's not an official episode. It's just Hangout. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to post the link to join me for anybody in the chat room who wants to jump on here and join me tonight. If you don't, no biggie. I don't care. It's not a big deal. But if you do, you can click the link, follow the instructions, and you can be on the show with me. So how's it going, James? Don't let me forget that I acknowledge that you're here, and let me post that link. That is that's the join link. You might have to copy paste it from the chat here. I don't know if you can click on it. I don't think it's a clickable link. But yeah, if you want to come on and talk to me about some things, then there we go. It's not going to be a super long episode, unless a lot of people jump in and you get a lot of good discussion going. Because, like I said, we're gearing up for the 250th episode. That is going to be Sunday, October 1st. I know it's a bit of a stretch out there, and it covers 2 Fridays, this Friday and the Friday after. But that's the next time that Rob and I can actually hang out in the same space and do it properly. We want to do episode 250 um, as great as possible because it's episode 250. It's a big milestone. So that's when it's going to be, October 1st on Sunday rather than our normal Friday, and then we'll be back on schedule after that. So I don't know what I'm doing next Friday or what we're doing. Who knows? We'll figure out something. Maybe we'll do a game stream or something like that. I don't know. Um, but yeah, let's chit chat a little bit. There's been a story that I've been following, kind of tangentially, and you'll have to excuse me because I've been working with dust and all kinds of things today. I was doing a lot of cleaning, and I haven't cleaned out my shed in years, and yesterday and today I've been out there cleaning it out and doing different things in preparation for using it for more regular stuff rather than just storage. So I stirred up a lot of dust, and now I just can't stop sneezing. I just can't stop sneezing. So my nose is itchy right now. I'm gonna hopefully not sneeze too much at you. So the alien mummy story. Have you guys heard about this? Have you guys read about this? Apparently, there's a researcher who back in 2017, he found mummies in Peru that he said were extraterrestrial, and he took them to get examined, and supposedly they were labeled fake. Um, I don't know if these are the same mummies as then. The mummies then were supposedly the bodies of children, or they were, which is kind of morbid. I don't know where he would have got them from, or they were. Some people said that they were made from the multiple remains and like stitched together and covered up with a paper mache or something like that. I don't know. It's kind of murky on what exactly transpired. But these apparently are new ones. These are supposedly they're two new bodies that he unveiled, this researcher, to the Mexican Congress. Certain Mexican doctors said that let's see, where was it at? there's a lot of stories about it, and there's a lot of people saying, "Oh yeah." There's said that there's no evidence of assembly, according to certain Mexican doctors, um, because they apparently did some tests and they said that it doesn't show that these ones were put together at all. Oh, James is here. Let me bring him on. Let me go ahead and James, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I sure can. Excellent. It's good to have you on the show for the first time.
Yeah, appreciate it. Sorry, I can't get
So,
my camera turned around there.
oh, that's fine. Hey, whatever works. I can hear you, and that's what's important. So, um, while I got you here, what have you heard about this alien story about the alien mummies in Mexico?
Oh yeah.
What do you think about it? I'm still on the fence. I've got thoughts about it, but I want to hear what you think first.
Well, the things that they showed on television and in the videos didn't look too convincing to me.
Yeah, I agree. They don't look real. Like I look at the pictures and they look fake. Like they look sculpted. I mentioned this on my morning show that they look like something my daughter would make out of Play-Doh.
Yeah, they look like ET from that movie.
Kind of like that too. Yeah, now that I think about it. I hadn't thought about that until you just mentioned it. And
Actually, when they showed them, I thought it was just members of Congress.
yeah, you could probably put some names to some of them. Um but yeah, they don't look right to me. And it's not like a thing like, oh, they look alien. It's that they just don't look real. And supposedly this guy, he hasn't sent off for any actual DNA testing or anything like that. He's just had him. Apparently, what happened was there was a university in Mexico that he sent skin samples to, and they said they tested them and said that they were roughly 1,000 years old. But they don't verify that those are the same from these because they never saw the bodies. They just got the samples. So who knows if this guy actually, took the samples from these or where he got them from.
Well, I've heard that this guy's a hoaxer anyway, and I've heard the forearms in the mummies when they X-rayed them are actually deer leg bones. I
Mm.
don't know, but
Yeah, he's been told twice before by I guess back in 2017 and 2019 that that what he was passing off was a fraud and that they were like animal bones and stuff like that. So I'm kind of curious how this is going to end up. There's actually some people who are like, "Oh yeah, we checked them out and we think they're real," and then there's a whole bunch of other people that say they're not. So I'm interested, but I'm thinking that they're fake. They just don't look it.
yeah, the perplexing thing to me is why the government would bring it out.
Yeah, it seems kind of weird that they would allow him to just like bring it into a session. Maybe they're trying to capitalize on what the U.S. was doing since we had the whistleblower hearings and things. But we don't have that kind of a one up kind of situation with Mexico. Last I knew, I mean, I would expect that from somebody like China or something. Like they see us doing this, and oh yeah, they're talking about aliens. Well, we're gonna do better. We're gonna have real aliens, and I've never really thought Mexico had that kind of thoughts towards us like that, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's what it is.
Could be. Maybe they're going to try and run their own little scam.
Could be. Could be. I wouldn't be too surprised nowadays. I mean, anything can happen nowadays. I mean, we got the whistleblower stuff that led nowhere, and now we've got Mexican Congress like looking at supposed alien bodies. So I don't know. I'm gonna lean on the side, like I said, of it being not real, but I'm gonna keep following the story just in case, because I don't know. I could be wrong, but they just don't look it to me.
Yeah, I agree. I follow the story. I was just curiosity to see what's going to happen.
hmm And there's other kinds of interesting stuff too. Like I follow a lot of space news, and there was some exciting news lately that NASA had found. I think it was Europa. They found evidence of carbon dioxide on Europa. Did you hear about that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, they said that they found evidence that there's carbon dioxide there, which is a good sign that there may be some sort of vegetation or something that could produce it. Because I mean, here we get carbon dioxide from like it gets we expel it and it gets eaten by plants and then they put out oxygen. Everybody knows that story. But it's one of those basic things that if atmosphere has carbon dioxide, it's potentially could have life that's giving it off. So that's cool. I saw that yesterday and I was really impressed.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be impressive.
Because they're looking at Europa, they're looking at Enceladus, which I think is a moon around. It might be another moon of Jupiter, or it might be a moon of Neptune. I get the circuits crossed on which is which, but a lot of good stuff, and a lot of that's coming out from the new space telescope, the James Webb telescope, which is really impressive. I didn't know it was going to find so much stuff. It's only been up there for a couple years, I think.
Really?
Hmm. It's been finding all kinds of stuff. Like it found this. It found evidence of an ocean somewhere else. It found evidence of another planet that might be Earth-like, and a whole bunch of stuff. It's like just item after item after item that this telescope is finding all of a sudden. It's real exciting for anybody who's real interested in space stuff. Like I get excited about it.
Nothing wrong with being enthusiastic.
Um, so that's the space stuff. Oh, also recently the Mothman Festival was in Point Pleasant. Of course, I didn't get to go. I never get to go, but it looked impressive. It looked like there were still a lot of people. I know they were still trying to recover from when there was like the virus stuff the last few years. Is that anywhere near where you're at, or is that more off on the side somewhere?
It's off on the side. If you look at the state of West Virginia, I'm exactly
Mm.
in the center.
Oh, okay. So you're more in the area that me and Rob usually frequent when we head down
Yeah.
there. Down. Okay. Yeah. Which is still a lot of good stuff down there. Like the Flatwoods Monitor stuff is always good. They just had a festival too, and I know we didn't get to go to that. Did you end up going to that?
Yeah, that's Flatwoods is about a mile from my house.
Mm.
Yeah, I went to see the Flatwoods Monster thing.
Did they have a big turnout this year? Because we went to one before the virus. Like it was a year or two before all that stuff happened, and we went to one, and it was kind of small. Like I guess the town was supposed to get the word out more, and they didn't, so the turnout was kind of low. But how was it this time?
There wasn't really a whole lot of people there, to tell you the truth. When I was there, I didn't stay very long.
Hmm. Well, I know. Andrew Smith from the Flatwoods Museum is always trying to drum up more people, but there's only so much that one person can do, and I don't know if he has a good support network for events like that so much. I think he just tries to do too much on his own, but hopefully that can pick up in the future because I'd like to go back down and see something like that, have the place jumping. I know it's a small town though. Like being there, it's like down in Sutton and all that. It's I don't know if they can handle that many tourists, honestly. If it was like Mothman Festival, I don't know what they'd do.
Yeah, they had for the Bigfoot Festival in Sutton, they had approximately 5,000 people.
That's not bad, really. Like I said, for a
Yeah.
town that size, that's quite a lot. Also in the chat room we have Not Larry. He says, "What's up, brother?" I say, "What's up, Not Larry?" We're just chit-chatting about some different things. It's not an official episode. We're just having some fun. And yeah, I always wanted to get down for the Mothman Festival. Although, well, I don't know if I want to go necessarily during the festival because I'm not a big crowd person. I want to go down and I want to see the statue and I want to see where the bridge was and I want to see like all the major event stuff. But I'm not sure I want to go during the heavy tourist season because I'm not that kind of a person so much. I think I'd get antsy with the crowds.
Yeah, I don't do crowds well myself.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that kind of stuff. So I'd like to go during like the off season, and I think sometime in the near future we're gonna be we're gonna be taking a trip down there to try that out. In the chat, not Larry asks, "You seen them aliens in Mexico?" We were just talking about that. Actually, we were just talking about that. What do you think? You think they're real? Because me and James, I don't know. We're not. We're leaning towards no. We're leaning towards them looking like they're not the real deal. But what do you think? I'm interested in people's opinions. I haven't been able to talk to a lot of people about this yet, so I'm kind of like I'm antsy to throw some ideas at people. Um, but yeah, I want to go down there because I have a fascination with Mothman. I've done an episode on it before. I really liked the. I know it's a dramatization. It's not super clear. Um, but I like the Richard Gere movie Mothman Prophecies based on the John Keel book, and I've always wanted to go see everything and see what it's like. Have you been down there, or have you been out that ways, James? Have you seen Point Pleasant?
Yeah, I've seen Point Pleasant. It was also the site of the biggest battle between the Indians and the white settlers, the Battle
Mm.
of Point Pleasant, and it's kind of a really historical place.
Yeah, some people have said that's one of the reasons why the Mothman shows up there, since it's supposed to pretend like dark events and things. Not Larry in the chat room says, but 100% real. It's about time truth comes out. Hey, if you're right, I will turn right around and be like, okay, I'm a believer. Because I think there are other beings out there. I haven't seen them. I haven't had any encounters, but I think there are. I don't think this is the real deal, but you know what? I would welcome being wrong. If I end up being wrong, I would love to see the evidence and I would love to celebrate that we got something that's like, hey, they're here. They were here in the past because like James, I like the ancient astronaut theory about them being here in the distant past and influencing like our spiritual growth and things of that nature. So knowing that they were around for a fact would be really exciting to me.
Yeah, uh, I agree with a lot of the ancient astronaut theory, but I'm in doubt of what those astronauts actually were.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm wondering too, because I think they were more person-like, more like us than something else. Not Larry. Yes, James does know his camera is backwards. He can't quite get it turned around, so we're just going to listen to him, and uh, and it'll throw it off a little bit, but it's no big deal.
I can
But
try and turn it around, but I don't think you really want to see me.
um, yeah, I feel like Rob has that theory that it's a people that were descended from that came from Mars. I don't know if it's exactly that kind of planet, but I feel like it's something like that. It's that this was like an outpost or a colony or something like that, and they came here to do something. They built up whatever the native species was, did some interbreeding, which was not allowed, and then they went off back wherever they went after a series of disasters. That's what I think. There he is. There's James. There's
Not very,
James.
not very photogenic, am I?
Most of us aren't, to be honest. Most of us are not going to win any or pageants or anything like that. So I'm not fussed about it. Um, but yeah, that's what I think, and I think like you've watched the show for quite a while, James. You know that most of the stuff that people think is magic and spiritual things in the past, I think, is more technological rather than miraculous necessarily.
Yeah, that very well could be, but I'm of the opinion that the ancient astronauts were actually the fallen angels, and that's just my opinion. I'm not going to push
Mhm.
it on anyone.
And it's still a compelling theory. too. I mean, because I can go out and be like, I think this, and this, but I mean, I have no idea. I wasn't there. It's all
Yeah,
guesses.
that's the truth. We weren't
Yeah.
there.
So a lot of times when people come up with, oh yeah, well we know that this and this and this happened in history, I'm like, well, you don't really know. You have some historical things to go by, but you weren't really there, and that's the only way to know. You know, we
Yeah.
can make all kinds of guesses about history and we can get excited about it, but there's no way to know. So who knows? Um, Not Larry says, I think them aliens just been waiting to catch us slipping, and that's could be true. Could be true. We don't know what's out there. We just like with history, we have a lot of assumptions. Um, we assume that there's a lot of people who think, oh yeah, they're trying to communicate with us and they're trying to tell us we're on a bad path and they're just trying to stop us from destroying ourselves. But I don't know. I feel like it might be a little bit more sci-fi, and they might not just come here and just attack, but they might be like, hey, you know what? We can get what we need from here, and none of these people are going to stop us.
Yes. Very well could be.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't think it's necessarily like Independence Day level, but I think definitely. Um, oh, you know what? And that's funny. That is funny, Nancy Pelosi being a reptilian, because I've seen different stories about some of them, and some of them I could see it. Like you look at them and you're like, you don't quite look right, but that's probably just me being mean. But a few of them that were supposed to be claimed to be reptilian, I'm kind of like, I don't think so because again, I got the evidence. But I think you told me this, James. I think once in the chat room you were like, it might be a con, that maybe it was a fake. But I always bring up the example that George W. He choked on a pretzel, so he can't be a reptilian because reptilians swallow their food whole. He wouldn't choke on a pretzel if he was a reptilian. But then I think you're the one that said, "Oh, but that could have been just he could have been faking it,"
Yeah. Yeah.
and that could be, and that could be. So I could be completely wrong about that too. Maybe he is a reptilian and he's smarter than me.
We're in such a time now that we can't believe anything we see or hear. It's
Hmm.
very difficult.
And and that's true because we've said this before on the show too about how there's so much information you can get on the internet, but there's so much uninformation you can get on the internet too. And it's balanced out by all the like I can't watch the news anymore because it's all opinion based now. It's all panels of people talking about what they think and stuff. It's not just like tonight on at 5 o'clock this event happened, or you know, in yesterday this thing happened in this country. It's not just straight up reporting. It's always like tragically all these things occurred due to the policies of whoever and blah blah blah, and there's all this stuff sprinkled in that you don't think about, but it's influencing your opinion. It's influencing how you feel about stuff. And you got that in the on the TV news, and you've got that a lot of times in online articles too. And so you have like no idea like what's the actual story.
Exactly. You can't tell, you can't trust anything.
The more adjectives that you find in a story, the less accurate it is. I have a game I play sometimes where I'll go and I'll get like I'll look for the same story from the big guys. I'll look for something from Fox, from ABC, from CNN, and from I don't know wherever, just a bunch of them. And I'll go and I'll cross out all the adjectives and descriptive things and just take it down to bare bones and see what meshes. And a lot of times when you do that, there's no story. Like there's nothing there. Like they're not talking about anything. It's just riling you up.
Exactly.
Now, not Larry says I got proof MK Ultra is still in progress. Ooh, juicy stuff in the chat. What? Lay it on us. Lay it on us. Um, Give me a link or something. I'll pull it up on my phone here and I'll take a peek at it. I don't doubt you though. A lot of these secret programs still kind of run in the background. You just don't really pay much attention to it, or they say, "Oh yeah, we don't do that anymore." But just because they say they don't do it anymore, doesn't mean they don't do it anymore. Like there was that person that they put in charge of that disinformation board back when the virus was going on, where they were like, "Oh yeah, we have this disinformation board now. We're going to correct things online and we're going to tell people the truth." And it was kind of like, "Oh, I bet you are." And there was such a big outcry that they said, "Okay, well, this lady resigned and we're going to take it apart." But did they take it apart for real? Who knows?
Well, when Elon Musk took over Twitter, he was exposing where all they were back channeling and
Hmm.
stalking and blocking people and getting people removed.
Yeah, the algorithm was 100% designed to steer towards certain views and things, even though they said, "Oh no, it's not," but it was.
Yep.
And now there's like there's a lawsuit or something working through the courts. A judge is trying to strike down something having to do with social media with the government, that the government is fighting, because it says, "Oh, we won't be able to fight misinformation well enough if you take this out." But they're trying to prevent the federal government from communicating with social media leaders and on like certain issues and things, which I think is a good thing, because it's supposed to be free and open discourse. If I feel like if the government wants to have control over what's being said on social media, then they can get their own social media platform. I mean, Trump's got one. You got all the regular ones. You've got there's what, Mastodon or something that's supposed to be free and clear, but I think it's like it's leans left or something like that. I don't pay a lot of attention to the extra ones. I stick to my just the Facebook just to talk to people I know, and I stick to the YouTube for putting up content. I don't go into X and Twitter. I don't go into Instagram or TikTok or any of that kind of stuff, or True Social or whatever. I was on Minds for a little while. Minds.com. Have you ever heard of that, James?
No, I haven't.
Minds.com. Minds like your mind. It it's a conservative social media platform, I think. I joined up because they were like, "Oh yeah, we don't censor anything, we don't do this," and so I joined up just to see what it was like. And I found that it was a lot of porn because they don't regulate it, and it's a lot of cryptocurrency dealing, and that's about it. And there's apparently some like side theories and occasionally something interesting there, but I haven't been there in a few years. I've been kind of like, okay, there's really nothing here worth getting too involved in. It's people kind of talking to themselves and trying to post stuff that they can get away with that they don't post other places. So I stopped really using that, but I don't use any of that stuff because I don't know, most of it's even when they say it's not regulated, it's over regulated for certain points of view.
Well, by November 3rd of 2020, I was kicked off of every social media, Twitter, Facebook, uh, Instagram, all of it. Twitter and Facebook banned me for life.
Hmm.
So
That takes some talent. I'll hand it to you. That takes some talent. I've been restricted a couple times, and YouTube took down one of our videos, actually, one of the uncanny videos, if you can believe that. It was recent. It was the last time I hosted the show by myself, just a few weeks ago, like maybe a month ago. It was I was talking about news articles and things, and I talked about they were talking about CRISPR DNA manipulation, and I made the mistake clearly of talking about the big V shot in the arm thing, because I was talking about the effectiveness of that versus like the gene editing thing, and they didn't like that. And it wasn't like I said anything, like I wasn't saying anything anti-vaccine or whatnot, but they took it down. Rob appealed it, and they won't. They said no. They denied the appeal. They won't put it back.
Yeah.
Like certain subjects, you can only just barely touch on without even saying anything particularly bad. But if it's like, oh, I don't really like that, so boom, it's gone. I don't know if it's an algorithm or if it's a person like checking stuff. Somebody could have reported it even. Who knows? I don't know. But it's just funny. We've had all these other videos about all this other stuff that we've talked about that's conspiratorial and kind of like, ooh, ah. And then this one thing that I talked about, that one topic, I can't say it here because they'll take this one down.
Yep.
But I couldn't believe it. He sent me the message. He was like, they took your video down. What'd you talk about? I was like, nothing really. But oh well. They're on it though sometimes. Like, I don't know. I I I got away with a lot of good talk during the virus years because I always had articles and things from other media stuff. So the platform didn't kick me off, but nobody else listened anyway. It doesn't matter how many articles you post. If they're buying into whatever they're buying into, nobody's going to listen. They're going to say, "Oh yeah, that's fake news," or "That's not from this," or "That's not from this." No matter how good the source is, not even if it's from a mainstream like um, medical source or something like that, they're just like, "Nah, they won't listen." So I stopped. I gave up. Arguing with people was pointless at that point.
Yeah, I've been in that situation quite a bit. So
But that's what it is. That's what it's like these days. That's what it is like on the
yep.
landscape of the internet. You can say whatever you want, but if they don't like it, then they won't necessarily stop you from saying it, but they'll stop anybody else from hearing it.
The United States of the offended.
Hmm. And another thing recently too, I was talking about like this is getting all over the place, but I was talking about the government shutdown, another one coming up. And I think those are ridiculous because how can a nation's government, like, how can the people in charge, like, shut down? It boggles the mind. But it's because, and I brought this up to Deadpool. He's not here today, but I brought it up to him because he was talking about how dumb it is. And I'm like, yeah, it's because the United States is incorporated. They're a corporation, which means they're a business now. That happened in like either the 80s or the 90s, I think. Maybe earlier. Maybe
1871.
is that when it was?
1871. Yeah.
Mm,
The
I
Act
didn't
of
realize it was
18.
that far back. But so the United States is a corporation, which
Mm-hmm.
means being run like a corporation. Of course, you run out of money, you can't pay your workers, which is everybody. So they put everything on pause. So and then when you think about that compared to the national debt and everything, and you realize just how much of a mess we're in,
Yeah.
like, because with such debt, basically, if we were honest about it, the United States would be bankrupt. We'd be in like chapter whatever bankruptcy proceedings. That's why it's still allowed to operate because the rest of the world is acting very similar nowadays.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy when you think about it. Uh, well, I want to say thank you, James, for being on. I don't have
Thank you
much
for
more
having me.
today. I just wanted to chit chat a little bit and fill up some space. And also thank you to Not Larry in the chat for chiming in. And we might do the same thing next week, next Friday, because like I said, we're going to do the 250th episode the Sunday after this coming Sunday, so it's October 1st. So there's going to be another empty Friday. Rob might be here for that, so we might just do another roundtable chit chat. But you're welcome to come back, James, if you got the time. I'll put another link in just like I did this time. And anybody else who wants to chime in, you are welcome to chime in. I like having the discussion. So once again, thank you, James. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Great show. Appreciate it.
And I will see everybody else next time.
All righty.